Well, what a time to be alive, right? So I just want to ask one more question. I don't want to let you off the hook until you give us a little inside info. So you sent out a tweet the other day that said, I just received leaked documents from a federal research agency that held a 3-day re-education camp for white males with their goal of undoing white male culture. And you haven't done a write-up on this yet. I just want to see if you can give us any inside intel into what you've got.
I will. So I started it with a big tease. People were really enthused about it. I plan on doing it hopefully this week. I think I'll find some time to put it together. But I'll give your audience a kind of special further details on this, which I know will be very exciting for them. But, this is the largest federal nuclear research agency in the country. So these are the people that are in charge of literally our nuclear weapons, the design and implementation. And they flew out their kind of white male executives for a specific race and gender segregated retreat for 3 days. Within the documentation, you can see the immediate objections of these people. One of them said, "I'm missing my 10-year-old's birthday for this." The other said, "Can we please be done with this by 5:30?" Another one said, "Why is this thing so long? I don't want to be stereotyped and insulted by this training." And yet they held this training that was a basic, I resisted for many weeks to use words like brainwashing. But I think that's really an honest description of what's happening. They had them kind of tally up white male associations and attributes. They had a kind of a board that they were scribbling, kind of handwritten associations. What does it mean to be a white male? What are the associations you find with white male culture? They wrote KKK on there. They wrote white supremacy. They wrote all sorts of other things as the kind of brainstorming session. And then they had these men, and it really is kind of sad. Honestly, my heart kind of broke for these guys. By the end of it, they had to write down their white privilege affirmations, their statements of white privilege. And then they were required to fill out forms that said, what did you learn about your white male culture? What can you do to kind of interrupt your white male culture? And what can you do to be a better ally to people of color? And this is a unbelievable 3 days. I mean, I think that if you looked at kind of interrogation techniques and brainwashing techniques, there might be some good parallels. I'm curious. I don't know. I think about sometimes reading some of the CIA interrogation handbooks that have been declassified and see if there's any interesting conceptual frames that we can apply to this, because it's really just degrading. It's demoralizing. You're kind of, your heart goes out to these old white dudes. It's just like, these guys are nuclear researchers. They're doing the best job they can. They're making bombs and missiles that are safe, that keep America protected. When they signed up for the agency, maybe 20, 30 years ago, they never thought it would come to this. But they've been really, I think, frankly, humiliated at these kind of things. And I reached out for comment to some of the people who were involved. The public affairs officer for the agency called my research assistant in a panic. I think they're realizing that holding a session for white males about, quote, white male culture is probably a bad idea. And I'm hoping that they get a little heat in the coming days after I put the story up.
Well, good. I can't wait to hear or read it, because it's that's insanity. 3 days among this. Not like any of us would lose. I lost my mind after 4 hours of reading White Fragility. I cannot even imagine this. Oh my God. Well, and it does make me feel sad for these guys too. You're right. I was almost like, as you were describing it, I started to get sad and depressed that they have to go for 3 days and do this. These are experienced professionals that I'm sure just like, who expects to get flown off to this for your corporate retreat, right?
Oh, garbage. Yeah. I mean, it used to be, the great retreat, it's like, go to Cancun, have a session for 2 hours, and then, drink at the beach,
Right.
That's the corporate retreat that we really need, none of this.
Ironically, it is. I actually used to tell teams all the time. I was like, just go out and have a beer together. That'll solve like go out, get drunk. Just like let your guard down. That will solve actually a lot of your problems when it comes to like interpersonal nonsense in the office.